Yep. Hello, this is Lee, and this is my senior project. Music is my life. So, before we begin, do you have anything drives you crazy? I do. Music drives me crazy every day. You may have seen me putting on my earbuds every day and singing on the street every day. I love to listen to music and I love to sing. I have played piano since I was 5 years old, and I still love to play piano. As I love music, I deeply consider to have a career related to music in the future. This was the motivation to do my senior legacy project about music. Um, I wanted to be a singer. However, I realized my talent is not enough for being a singer, and there are a lot of jobs related to music besides singer. Therefore, I tried to learn as many things as possible about different careers in music field, and I wanted to share musical experiences with the whole student body in Grace Prep. So that's basically my motivation to do my senior legacy project. So that's basically what I have said so far, and there are objectives here. So there are research part. In research part, there are documentaries, articles, professional contact, interview, and learning how to use the music editing and mixing software, Logic X Pro, and another bubble is band formation concert. So there will be forming a band, band practicing, and performance at the nursing homes. Another bubble is worship night, classical music history class, and one of the big bubble, prep for life bubble, and song composition bubble. So in my research, these are the documentaries that I have. I haven't had. I have had 6 documentaries and well, and I have 3 movies, which are Mamma Mia, Once, and August Rush, which are all well known as a really good music movie about music. And there are my research part about articles. And I read 3 articles, and it's all about related to music. And there are professional contact here. I interviewed Ellen Scott, Blake Brayton, Connor Williams, Joe Lang, and Dr. Rachel Copeland, and there were several people that I tried to interview but I could not interview, who are Stephanie Skipper, Alice Good, Dr. Paul Barsom, and Dr. Jonathan Gangi. So I want to share some cool things from each interview that I have done. So from Alan Scott, what I really impressed was his box that he always bring. It's full of the gifts and letters from the audiences that he has concerts with, and all the audiences, they got some signals from God, and then they wrote the letters, or they recorded some CDs and gave it to Alan Scott, and then Alan said that really drives him to be passionate and also try to be consistent every time. And the one thing about impressed from Blake Brayton, it is he said, and I asked him, why did you want to be Christian singer, not pop song singer or other genre? But he said, well, it's because he joined the band, and the way the band pursue their musical style was automatically towards God. So he also automatically become a Christian singer. And I got some story from Connor Williams that how he started his how he was interested in music, and he said it's from his first concert. It's from his father's gift, which is guitar. And from Joe, I asked him, as you are a musician, have you ever sick of music? And he said, of course, he has sick of music when he every day or few days in a week, he really struggles and he wants to give up the music. But every time that also drives him to pursue music again. And from Dr. Rachel Copeland, I learned how competitive it is in the music field. She applied to like 300 jobs and he applied 100 jobs and got only 2 positive responses. And she realized then she learned how to be used to get rejected from others and how competitive it is in the music field. And the other research part is learning how to use the Logic X Pro. So Logic X Pro is a software that mixing and editing the music. So you can basically compose song through this software. And then the first time I was exposed to it was when I talked to Jared Venus. He was using this software, and then I was really intrigued by it, and then I chose to learn how to use it through this project, and then I learned it through 2 blogs online, which had total 20 lectures, and I also finally made one cover song file, Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran. It's on my website, and it's a little bit sounds like not like incomplete, but it was really hard work because I didn't have my keyboard at that point, so I had to put every single keys through like just clicking the mouse, and it's a lot of work to put all the instruments, guitar, drum, and piano. So it was also tons of work, and I did this part on the October. And one of the biggest bubble that I had was band formation and concert. So almost every bubble that I had was really challenging to me, and I would say this was the most challenging part of my project. So there are 5 parts: forming a band and band practice, advertising, performance at nursing homes, performance at Greenville nursing home, and performance at Winwood nursing home. So for the recruiting the band members, I tried to find anyone who plays guitar at least intermediate level, and I got stuck because I could not find a student in Grace Prep who can play guitar at the level that I expected I wanted. So I asked to Chris Helland for playing cajon or drum, and he had job down in Nashville, Tennessee, so he could not also join in the group. So anyway, at last, my mentor helped me, so myself and Joe formed a band, 2-man band, and we practiced and did all together. So for the band performance practice, I had nowhere to practice these performances. So I asked to my pastor in my State College Korean church, and I wrote the letter to him to land the place for practice, and he said yes. So we had practice 3 times before the performances. It was on March 4th, 5th, and 6th. So we practiced that 3 times. And before the performance, I went to each nursing homes for advertising. So I went to Greenville nursing home on March 4th, and Greenville Nursing Home on March 5th to introduce myself and then explain my plan, and I'll be here on that day. So please come and then enjoy my music. And I also hang out with these old ladies and gentlemen. We played a lot of bingos. I almost was sick of the bingo, and I play background piano music for the lunchtime in Winwood Nursing Home, and I also talked with them. And the Winwood Nursing Home was the nursing home that I had visited last year during the serve-a-thon, so it was so pleasure to see the people in Winwood Nursing Home again and then talk to them again. And the band performances. So at the Wednesday of that week, I had first performance at Greenville Nursing Home. So it was really good experience for me, and the really cool thing was I saw them dropping their tears because I prepared some old songs like Johnny Cash or Elvis Presley with Joe Ling, and those songs I've never heard about those songs, and their rhythms and tempos were kind of weird to me, but we practiced hard. And there were a lot of old ladies and gentlemen who could not even able to move, but I saw them dropping their tears, and that was a really cool experience for me. And the second band performance at Winwood Nursing Home. So we also prepared just a little bit different songs, Johnny Cash or Elvis Presley, Bon Jovi, and I really think I listened to a lot of old songs at that time, and some of them I liked it so far. And people in Winwood Nursing Home also loved it because they saw me before, and then I was so glad that some of them remembered me, and it was really cool experience. And then the other bubble is worship night. So the reason why I picked this bubble is there are typical Grace Prep style worship nights. I think, in my opinion, like those songs are pretty good but deep, heavy, or sad. So I tried to share other types of worship songs. So I prepared some contemporary or upbeat and fast worship songs, and we prepared. Me and my mentor Joe practiced again for the worship nights, and it was a really good experience for me because on the first worship night, I kind of messed up because I missed the right time to start off the songs and right time to sing the bridge part, and because that was my first time singing the whole session in front of a lot of people, that was really immersed me. So after that, I overcame that struggling, and I got better, and I learned a lot from that. So the first worship night was during the 242, February 6th, and the second worship night was on March 20th, also during the 242. And this bubble is about classical music history class. So the goal was make everyone to discern each composer's musical style and get basic knowledge about them. So I prepared class about 5 most important classical music composers, in my opinion, who are Johann Sebastian Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, and Liszt. So I taught them musical style, fun facts, trivia, and best songs of each composer and how to appreciate the classical music. The reason why I taught these things, not really their personal bio, because I think it would be boring if I tell everyone about all the bios, and I thought it would be more fun to tell fun facts and trivia about them, and I think everyone liked it. So these are the class that I taught, and as I had to teach classes, I I borrowed half of the class period from every math classes. So I borrowed class from Mr. Ernie Lay, Algebra 1 class, and all the math classes from Robbie Grash, and also one geometry class from Mrs. Sikri, to cover everyone in Grace Prep. And this is also one of the really big prep or life bubble. And this one is changed a little bit because I had meeting at the middle of January with Mrs. Moyer and Robbie Grash, and we talked about the PFL, about the hidden singer, and then Mrs. Moyer told me it'll be not efficient or everyone will not participate in if we do 3 hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes of hidden singer thing. So we came up with the idea that what about teach everyone to learn how to play musical instrument. So that was really hard bubble because I wanted to prepare 30 total instrument because I wanted to make 2 people share 1 instrument to be efficient, to be effective. So I made the Google form and did the survey and got some information, but I got only 27 responses. So I went to everyone and then asked them to borrow their musical instrument and even to teachers, and it really worked well. And so there was musical instrument learning session. So guitar session was taught by Dalton Williams. So recruiting Dalton Williams, before that, I tried to ask Jonathan Weibel to teach the guitar class, but he said he could not read the music sheet, so he is not qualified. So I asked to Connor Williams, and he said he would be out of town on that day, so he introduced me his brother, Dalton Williams, and he said he will be better because he also teaches students how to play guitar. So I contacted Dalton Williams, and he said yes, so we could do our guitar session. And I taught the piano session, which was I also planned. And the main goal of those 2 classes were teaching everyone the basic chords, the 7 chords of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, so that they can at least see all the chords, the alphabets on the at the top of every line on the music sheet, and then they can play what they want to play. And I also know there are a lot of people who can play piano or guitar just memorizing the position of the key or position of the hand, not really can read the music sheet. So that's why I came up with this idea. And these are the pictures that I took. And the other struggling thing was thankfully there were a lot of people bringing up their guitar and all the instruments, and they were mixed. So someone got the wrong guitar, and I had also hard time looking for people who took the wrong guitar and then give it back to the right person. And the hidden singer thing was my original PFO plan. So it was originally for people who has their musical talent but really shy to share their musical talent. So I wanted to let them sing in front of everyone. So I came up with the idea that everyone turn their chairs around in the C at the back, and then singers sing, and then if they liked their song, they turn their chairs around, and then there are panels here so that we count the number of the chairs that turned around, and then combine the scores of each panels times 5, and then combine those scores, and then this number of the chair turned around so that we get the combined score, and then I had 5 spots for the singer, and then I gave $50 cash to top 3 out of 5, and the result is, so we got to know Maddie Boyer is a really good singer, and we got to know Elizabeth and Lauren is also a really good singer. Well, also it was really entertaining. Like Carl sang the tequila, and Zach, Jake, and their band also came out to sing really cool song. And there were one more bubble composing a song. This one is what I am working on. So I am writing. I have roughly draft of the lyrics, but I don't have melody yet. So this is incompleted bubble. And the learning stretch is through this bubble. Every bubble was challenging to me because it was my first time having this kind of project, planning the whole year project and then work on based on those schedules. And also, I'm not really extroverted person, but I had to teach the class and I had to ask them to bring the instrument, and I had to contact the people that I have never known. Everything was new to me, so it was really hard. And also, I learned how I should not procrastinate it, and also I learned how to anyway make bubbles done, and being organized, and how to communicate with people. So, and thank you for my family that supported me, and also my mentor Joe. He is really a great musician, really nice person, and also Idea Factory. And thank you for my fellow senior class and everyone in Grace Prep, teachers, and everyone who helped my project. And the conclusion is, it was a really good chance to learn about a variety of careers related to music. That's why I also interviewed professors in Penn State, because there are not only singers, but there are also teachers who teaching about music, and that's also career related to music. So, conclusion is, I learned a lot of things from this project, and I learned I should not procrastinate it through this project, and also I learned how to make the bubbles done. Thank you.
All right, Lee, you look good. I've said that to everybody, but everybody looks good. So I just have a couple questions for you. I was not actually, I wasn't very involved with your project at all, with the exception of helping you work out the 242 nights and the PFL. When did you do your presentation? Did you have it turned in last week?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Because I think it was weak. I think the actual presentation up here had small pictures, and I could tell you are a guy of excellence. I know this about you. I have seen your passion for music. I remember the first time I asked you to play at a banquet we were doing, and you were hesitant to play because it had to be perfect, even though you're one of the most talented pianists I've ever heard. So you have this desire for excellence, and you actually have it in excellence. I was surprised sitting here knowing that, like not seeing the excellence in your presentation. That surprised me. Actually, what I wrote down was, I can't tell if you like this project. I know you're passionate about music. Did you like this project?
I actually like this project, but I just learned, I really tried to, the other thing I learned is make C first and then go to shooting for B and target for A, because for the band formation thing, I really tried hard to recruit the band members, but as I told you, unfortunately, there was not any guitar player at the level that I wanted, and I tried to reach out to the fine art thing, but my church doesn't have the fine art, and then I asked Joe for joining the other church's fine art, but they were also after the deadline, so that's one of the reasons that I really had hard time. And then that was also one of the factors that I made me to procrastinate of doing this project. Yeah.
So I have this like benefit of knowing Lee and having worked with Lee, and then kind of sitting over here not knowing about your project and watching your presentation. It was very surprising to me because I don't feel like this represented who I know you to be as a person. I remember a couple years ago you wanted to be here for 2 years. You're in a unique situation coming from Korea that you'd already graduated high school, and we said, no, we're not going to let you do that. And you wrote me probably the most profound Dale Carnegie email I've ever received from a student. And I was like, well, I can't argue with this. You did a great job. Like, the way you presented yourself in that email was exceptional. I'm like, wow, that's not what I saw here. And I'm trying to figure out what happened, because I know you're passionate about music. I know you're passionate about people. I've watched you be a defender of, stand up for, look out for the international students. Like, you are not self-appointed, but you're an ambassador and you look out for them. So what do you think was the disconnect? Because I would say this project and this presentation doesn't represent the Lee that I know to be a man of excellence and passion. Where was the disconnect there?
Actually, maybe some priorities that I had, which are, well, I would say, as I came from, I'm an international student, and I really aiming for some like college applications, and so that I really need time to study for like SATs and all the test things, and I studied for that till December, and then I applied to college like due like middle of like January thing, and those testings and also schoolworks, that really, I mean, that was not the everything that I have done past, but that I think that made me to push the senior project to the back priority.
Okay. It shows. And I don't, that's why, and that helps me understand where you're, because I haven't worked with you on that, but it's just because when I've seen you do things with excellence, they're excellent. And that didn't show up here. One last question. I'm curious, like, what do you want to do with your life? I know you're trying to get into college, prestigious college. That's why you came here. Yeah. Is your goal to pursue music or something else?
So that's also one of the things I learned from Alan Scott. So Alan Scott told me, I asked Alan Scott, should I be like full-time musician? And he said, you don't have to be full-time musician. You can have like part-time. I have also another job for making a living, and then I do. Now I'm like full-time musician, but before that he was having the other job about real estate, and he was like part-time musician. So I think that will be also a good option for myself after college.
Okay. I just want to encourage you, because I know you, and like I said, I know what's in there. I know that this does not represent who you are. I don't feel like this went well. And I want to encourage you moving forward from here to, I know when you put your mind to something, you can do it with excellence. Coming to Grace Prep is evidence of that. Working through that process with me is evidence of that. And so as you sort out where you're going, make sure your goals are on task with who you are and what you want to do, and then pursue them, and don't put them off. So.
Hi, Lee.
Yep.
I, like Jared, I haven't been involved in your project at all. Today's when I've learned the most about it. That's really just due to my own schedule, not yours. To start off on a few positives, I thought it was great that you learned how to use this Logix Pro. Anything technological would probably impress me, but I still think that if you had to take time out of your studies and other things to learn that in order to help execute your project, that was a positive. And also that you reached out to the community in going into the nursing homes. I know that you did things within 242, and I think that's great, but you had to stretch yourself a little to go interact in other settings. And so I think those were positives. Like Jared already mentioned, your presentation today I don't think entirely represents you in terms of what I've seen and the pleasure I've had to know of you in the last 2 years, and your work. I remember that email from 2 years ago, and it's one of the best I've ever read. And it was you have a plan and you have a vision for your future, I think, and what you want to do. And you worked hard towards that this year. And I think it's showing up in where you're getting admitted to universities, if I understand correctly. So I think I'd like to hear you just say a little bit about, in terms of that and balancing those expectations for what comes after high school with the demands of this project, which are hard. What do you think you learned, or what stretched you the most in that?
Through this project?
Uh-huh.
Well, I would say it is definitely how to manage my time and distribute my time, not just for one thing, not just do only one thing, but I have to divide those times into several things that I all have to do, because all things I have to do anyway, and that is not gone if I just postpone or I delay it. So that's what I learned from now and then. Yeah.
That's a good thing to learn, and I think it's a lifelong thing that we all get challenged with and stretched in. One thing that you talked about was how when you did your worship nights, you wanted to, and this is more of an encouragement to you, that we do slower, sadder, deeper songs or something, and you wanted to do more upbeat pace. It would have been neat to hear in your presentation what maybe songs you selected, and what you concluded from that, or what you learned, or if you got any feedback from the student body on that, on if you really changed it up, what did that look like? I would love to have heard more about that. And also knowing that a little bit now and then about the link between music and the brain and academics and stuff like that, and you're a strong student. I noticed on your bubbles you had some stuff with historic or classical composers in music history, just to hear a little bit more about that and the connection maybe with incorporating it, into life, and how that might help one academically or in studying. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Lee. A couple of positive things. I thought that you going out and singing at nursing homes was a really nice aspect to this project. Just getting outside of your comfort zone and going out and doing something like that to just, spend time with other people you wouldn't normally do. And I also thought it was kind of interesting that you did music as your project at all, because I know how much you really are focused on academics all the time. So this was kind of a switch for you, and I thought that was kind of nice that you did something that you just enjoy. Looking at your portfolio, which I did read, I felt like it was like a first draft, like it really needed edited. What do you think about the editing process needed there?
Just general, the portfolio.
Yeah, the written portfolio, yeah.
So I do think I have to edit a lot, because I honestly was rushed into time and then made my portfolios. So
Yeah, and I've been your teacher, and I know the difference between when you do your highest quality work and when you're doing something that's just very rushed. And so when I read your portfolio, I thought I had, thought that it would have been a lot better had you had more time or taken more time to get it to first quality. I would say when you're doing a presentation or a portfolio or whatever, don't list the people who you tried to contact and they didn't get back to you. You needed to do interviews and you did interviews. Just list the people that you did talk to, or who did help you with your band. But you don't need to talk about those people who didn't, that's just in general. I just think you don't want to include that. Your online portfolio, I didn't look at it today, but what was the progress on your online portfolio?
From from that point, I think there was not any progress from that point.
Okay. I just say that because I know, like, when I looked at it last, when I was doing my final evaluation, I had to send you an email and say, Lee, is this the correct link? Because there were just some pages on there that weren't like your content. So again, I think it's the time that should have been put in a lot earlier than this. And it did surprise me because I know what kind of person you are. I have to echo what Jared and Mrs. Shearer have already said. And I know you were balancing a lot of things with college applications, but I was definitely taken aback by that. I would have liked to have seen, since the things involved worship nights and that type of thing, I would have loved to have seen some video of that, you know, because I don't go to 242, and having that was a big part of your project, and it just would have been cool to either have like the song list or the or some video of that, how it differed from the normal worship night. But overall, I have to say I have enjoyed working with you, and I think you've got a tremendous record here at our school. I don't feel that this project in the end was your best effort. So thanks, Lee.
Yeah,
How's it going, Lee?
yeah, it's going good.
Is it going, like, how do you feel? How do you really feel about the project? How do you really feel about the project? When you go through these bubbles, are you feeling like you just had to get them done? Do you feeling like time ran out on you?
Well, as I'm working on my project, I enjoyed it but the thing was, I just worked on my project just short amount of time. So anyway, while working on my project, I enjoyed it, but the fact is I put little amount of time on it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's really hard for all of us, knowing your work. So the question is, how do we, one of the sad things to me about it is if you don't get time to do it, you don't get to enjoy it as much because you don't get deep enough into it. A lot of the beginning aspects of the project are no fun, research and things like that, and professional contacts. The fun part of the project is at the end, where you just really start to integrate all the knowledge, and they get put together. And suddenly the momentum shifts, and the project starts having its own energy. We have work to do. I think you probably recognize that, right?
Yeah.
That we have work to do. And I'm going to go through some of the work. Did you talk to these professional contacts like Alan? Did you talk to them on the phone, or did you email them?
Yeah, I did.
You emailed them.
Yeah.
So you didn't actually talk to them.
No, I did the FaceTime interview.
Okay, good. You use Logic Pro X, right?
Yeah.
But it looks like, so one of your bubbles is composing and editing production. And you composed the Ed Sheeran song, but you said it's not finished?
That one was finished, but the composing my own song is not finished.
But the Ed Sheeran song is finished.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were still working on that one, or it's not totally together, or you're missing pieces of it or something?
So that Ed Sheeran song is the one that I learned how to use it, so I just tried to apply it to my favorite song, and then composing my own song is like different thing. So
The Logic Pro X song, I mean, can we hear it? Like, is that something you can play? Is it on that website?
It's on
I
the
didn't hear
website.
it on the website. I didn't see the website. But you can hear it. So it's finished? Does it sound like what you want it to sound like?
But it's like instrumental version, so it does not have my voice, but every other instrument are in there.
Okay. Because I understood you to say that it was hard because you had to put every keystroke in there, you didn't have a keyboard, and that it wasn't totally, you're saying it is totally done.
Yeah, but now I have keyboard, so it's working better than before.
So is it done, or I just need to know, if I listen to it, is it done to what you want it to be done like? Or is it?
Well, I can make it better.
Okay. So Is it done?
Uh,
To
technically,
your specification, to your own specification, is it finished?
I think I have to do more.
Okay. And then you're working on composing a song, right?
Yeah.
And the band formation, we, it's more of a duet, really, it ended up being,
Yeah.
right? So, how many times did you have to practice for the band?
It's 3 times.
3 times. Okay, so, and then that's kind of why you said in the one worship night you kind of got started wrong or something, right? Because it
Well,
comes from
we
practice.
practiced before. I mean, I counted the 3 practices like we gathered up for specific goal, but we had practiced before the worship night. So it's like I didn't count it for it because it was like before worship night. So we did practice, but like that was our like first time singing together. So
This is an interesting project because you're a fine student. You got into some colleges you want to get into, right? Bucknell, RPT,
yeah.
right? So you've achieved that. Do you think you might have looked ahead at the fact that you got into those colleges and maybe looked away from this and it caught up to you?
Sorry.
Do you think that you were too focused on, you couldn't navigate the college application process and this at the same time? Like you didn't get to do a lot of this project, right? Just didn't get it done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it is, right? We want you to finish strong,
Yeah.
so we have some work to do on this, right?
Yeah.
And part of it includes that music history, like the fun facts. Part of that was competencies on identifying historic composers, helping the students to do that, and then integrating it into the curriculum.